No one lives your life but you. No one wakes up in your body. No one feels your quiet frustrations. No one hears the battles that happen in your mind before you even leave the bed. They can guess. They can assume. They can judge. But they can't live it. They don't carry your memories. They don't wrestle with your regrets. They don't walk through your fears. Only you do. So why are you still waiting for them to approve the life you know you were meant to live? Why are you still trying to make sense to people who don't even make space for your truth? You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing peace over pressure, purpose over popularity, depth over distraction. This is your life, not a rehearsal, not a show, not a democracy. Your choices are not up for public vote. And the longer you live like they are, the more disconnected you become from yourself. Because every time you say yes to what they want, but no to what your soul needs, you chip away at your own life, quietly, slowly, but surely, until one day you look around and realize the life you're living looks nothing like the one you dreamed of. It's full of noise that doesn't sound like you, routines that don't nourish you, people that don't see you, and a version of you that only exists because you were too afraid to offend, too afraid to disappoint, too afraid to stand alone. But here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. There is no version of your life where everyone understands you. There is no path where you don't lose someone along the way. There is no transformation without disruption. So stop asking, will they be okay if I change? And start asking, will I be okay if I don't? Because that's the real cost. Not their opinion, but your potential. Not their comfort, but your calling. And the longer you delay, the harder it becomes to remember who you were before you started shrinking. Before you started editing yourself to fit into spaces too small for your truth. And you'll never feel fulfilled trying to live someone else's version of enough, their idea of success, their picture of happiness, their definition of worth. You were not born to be a replica. You were not born to be a mirror for someone else's expectations. You were born to build something only you can build, feel something only you can feel, express something only you can express. And yes, that might scare them. Your clarity might make them uncomfortable. Your change might challenge what they thought they knew. But that's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to your own soul, to the voice inside you that's been whispering for years, there's more. More than being agreeable, more than being impressive, more than being liked. Because here's what they won't tell you. Being liked is a poor substitute for being alive. You don't need more approval. You need more alignment. You need more mornings where you wake up and feel like you're not betraying yourself just to keep the peace. You need more nights where you look in the mirror and actually recognize the person staring back. Because that person, that's the one who matters. Not the version of you that everyone praises. The version that you can sit with in silence, without guilt, without regret, without apology. That's what living your own life really means. It means honoring what you feel, not what they expect. It means taking full responsibility for your path, even if it makes no sense to them. It means being brave enough to disappoint others so you don't disappoint yourself. Because no one else lives your life. No one else carries your dreams. No one else suffers your consequences. So why let them hold the pen while you write your story? You're not here to be a background character in your own existence. You're here to be you, fully, deeply, unapologetically. And the sooner you own that, the sooner you begin to live that, not just exist. Somewhere along the way, you started shrinking. Not all at once, not dramatically, just slowly, silently, one compromise at a time. One moment of silence when you should have spoken. One polite smile when your soul was screaming. One okay when your heart said, this isn't right. You became agreeable, predictable, palatable. Not because you were weak, but because you were tired. Tired of explaining, tired of defending, tired of the tension that comes from being fully yourself in rooms that only accept pieces. And so you made yourself smaller, more digestible. You gave people the version of you they wanted, and you convinced yourself it was safer that way. But it's not safe. It's costly, because every time you shrink, you don't just lose a piece of your truth. You lose a piece of your life, a version of your story that never gets lived. And maybe people liked you more that way. Maybe they praised your humility, your patience, your flexibility. But deep down, you knew that wasn't you. You knew you were saying yes to things you didn't believe in, showing up for things that didn't feed you, giving energy to people who never gave it back. But you told yourself, it's just for now. They'll change. I can't afford to make waves. Until one day you looked in the mirror and realized you can't even recognize yourself anymore. Not because you've failed, but because you've been too nice to fight for yourself. Too understanding, too tolerant, and maybe it's time to admit your people-pleasing isn't kindness. It's self-abandonment. It's fear wearing a smile. And it's okay to say you're done. Done explaining, done performing, done negotiating with people who only love you when you're easy to manage. Because you weren't born to be understood by everyone. You were born to understand yourself. And that understanding, it starts the moment you stop asking for permission to live your own life. The moment you stop making choices based on who might be disappointed and start making choices based on what makes you come alive. You weren't meant to live in reaction to other people's expectations. You were meant to live in response to your own convictions, your own truth, your own rhythm. So ask yourself honestly, who have I been trying to impress by being someone I'm not? What dream did I pause because I was afraid it would make me look selfish? What version of me have I buried just to be accepted by people I don't even respect? It's okay to feel grief when you realize how much you've given up just to be liked. But that grief, that's a sign you're waking up. That's a sign you're no longer willing to make your comfort zone a coffin. You're ready to breathe again, to move again, to choose yourself again, not in theory, but in practice. And yes, it will be uncomfortable. You'll lose things. People might fall away, but you won't be losing your life. You'll be finding it. You'll be making space for the version of you that doesn't have to apologize just for existing, the one who speaks truth even when their voice shakes, the one who walks away even when it hurts, the one who chooses self-respect over approval. That version of you, they've been waiting, watching, hoping, and now it's time to let them lead, because no one else can walk your path. No one else can choose your peace. No one else can take responsibility for the life only you have been given. And if you don't do it now, when? You don't need a new year, a new month, or a new decade to begin again. You just need a moment of honesty, a moment when you finally admit, this isn't who I want to be anymore. That's the first step, not a plan, not a breakthrough, just the courage to stop lying to yourself. Because real change doesn't start with motivation. It starts with ownership. It starts when you look at your life without sugarcoating and say, this was my doing, and this will be my undoing, unless I choose differently. That's not self-blame, that's self-power, because as long as you think someone else is responsible for your life, you'll wait. You'll wait for them to change, for circumstances to improve, for some sign to arrive. And all that waiting, it robs you, slowly, quietly, like a thief that never even has to break in, because you left the door open. But the moment you take back responsibility, something shifts. You stop performing for others. You stop managing your image. You stop saying yes out of guilt. And you begin to act like someone whose time is limited, because it is. You begin to edit your life the way a writer edits a draft. Not everything stays. Not every character belongs. Not every scene gets to remain. You start making hard cuts. You remove the roles that drain you. You silence the narratives that no longer fit. You release the pressure to be everything to everyone, and you become something real to yourself. That's when you feel it, the energy returning, the clarity settling in, the sense that maybe, just maybe, you're finally becoming you. And it's not dramatic, it's not loud, it's not even obvious to the world. It's quiet, it's subtle, it's powerful. It's the way you breathe deeper, walk slower, say no without over-explaining, say yes without guilt. It's the way you clean your space, clear your mind, take back your mornings. It's how you stop living on other people's timelines and start building your own rhythm. You learn to pause, to reflect, to reset without shame. And in that stillness, you reconnect with something sacred, your voice. Not the voice shaped by culture or fear or upbringing, your true voice, the one that knows, the one that whispers, you were never meant to live this small. And suddenly, things change. You begin to enjoy your own company. You stop chasing people who don't see you. You stop watering relationships that never fed you. You stop apologizing for choosing peace. You build your life around your truth, not around your fears. And no, that doesn't mean you won't have doubts. You will. But you'll walk with them anyway. Because now your life is no longer up for debate. It's no longer something to explain, justify, or perform. It's yours. Quietly, fully, unquestionably yours. And that kind of freedom, it's not something anyone can give you. It's something you claim, one choice at a time, one boundary at a time. One brave, imperfect decision at a time. You are not here to fulfill someone else's version of enough. You are here to live a life that feels right in your bones, even if no one else understands it, especially if no one else understands it. Because at the end of the day, when the noise fades and the crowd leaves and the lights go out, you are the only one who has to live with the person you've become. And when that moment comes, what will you say? That you played it safe? That you waited for their approval? Or that you finally chose yourself? Even when it was hard, even when it was lonely, even when it didn't make sense to anyone but you. Because that is when you begin to live, not for them, not for applause, but for truth, for peace, for meaning. That is when your life becomes your own again. You don't need more. You need clearer standards, clearer space, clearer priorities. Because living your own life isn't just about saying no to others. It's about finally saying yes to what actually matters. Not what impresses, not what distracts, but what grounds you, what centers you, what gives your time weight. Because time without direction is just motion, busyness, spinning wheels, and you've done enough of that. You've been productive but disconnected, successful but unfulfilled, surrounded but alone. You've mastered the performance. Now it's time to return to presence. Presence that says, I don't need to be everything, I just need to be aligned. Because the most powerful life is not the loudest one, it's the most honest one. It's built quietly through small choices made with big intention. It's not measured in likes or milestones or how many people envy you. It's measured by how much peace you feel when you wake up, how much energy you carry when you walk into a room, how little you have to pretend, explain, or chase. That's real success. That's what living your own life feels like. And the truth is, it's not glamorous. Sometimes it means turning down opportunities that don't fit your soul. Sometimes it means being misunderstood. Sometimes it means starting over when everyone else is settling. But that's the price of clarity. You lose comfort, but you gain control. You lose crowd approval, but you gain self-respect. You lose the need to be liked and discover the power of being authentic. You're not here to please. You're here to build something true. A life that reflects who you are, not who they expect. And that means slowing down, simplifying, saying no. Not because you're arrogant, but because you're awake now. You're done leaking energy into people, problems, and patterns that lead you nowhere. You're done outsourcing your sense of direction to people who don't even know where they're going. You're done living your life like a reaction. You're ready to live it like a response. a conscious, grounded, powerful response to what you value. And yes, you'll still be tempted. Tempted to go back to the noise, to the rush, to the version of you that was easier to digest. But now you know that version was never sustainable, because anything built on fear eventually collapses. But a life built on truth, it lasts. It may not look perfect, but it feels whole. It may not make sense to others, but it makes sense to your soul. And that's the only measure that matters. So give yourself permission to live slow, to live deep, to live true. Let go of the pressure to prove. Let go of the fear of being misunderstood. Let go of the idea that you need to have it all figured out. You don't. You just need to stay close to what's real. That inner compass, that still voice, that deep knowing. It won't always be loud, but it will always be right. And the more you honor it, the more everything else begins to align. Not perfectly, but truthfully. And that's more than enough. That's life, your life, lived from the inside out, not the outside in. This is your permission, not from them, not from the world, from yourself, to stop waiting, to stop hoping someone else will come and fix your life, to stop pretending that things will magically get better while you stay the same, because nothing changes until you do. Not your past, not your fears, not your doubts. You. You are the gate. You are the reason. You are the answer. And it's not because you're perfect. It's because you're responsible. You don't control what happened to you, but you control what happens next. You control whether you keep repeating what hurt you or start rewriting what heals you. Whether you keep making choices to be accepted or finally choose to be free. Whether you keep reacting to life or start creating it. Because life doesn't hand itself to the passive. It opens for the present, for the aware, for the honest. The ones who finally say, "This is who I am. This is what I want, and I'm not going to apologize for walking toward it anymore." That's what taking your life back really means. Not fighting the world, but returning to yourself. Remembering that the real you doesn't need to be louder, just clearer. Doesn't need to be faster, just more focused. Doesn't need to be impressive, just authentic. That's what people feel. That's what you feel, peace. Not from controlling everything, but from owning your path. Fully, deeply, deliberately. And that path, it might be messy, it might be misunderstood, but it will be yours. You'll wake up every day not chasing meaning, but living it. You'll look in the mirror and see someone who didn't settle, someone who didn't shrink, someone who didn't hand their life away for comfort. You'll see someone who stood up for truth, for self, for life. And yes, that takes courage. Real courage. The kind that doesn't always look heroic. The kind that shows up quietly, again and again, in the choices no one sees. The moments when you say no to the easy thing, so you can say yes to the right thing. The moments when you walk away from what's familiar to walk toward what's honest. The moments when you feel alone, but know you're not abandoned. You're becoming. You're not lost. You're choosing. And every step you take in truth makes you lighter, stronger, freer, until one day you look back and realize, this is what life was always meant to feel like. Not perfect, but yours. Not effortless, but aligned. Not for show, but for soul. So take this with you. No one else lives your life but you. And if you don't take it seriously, no one else will. If you don't claim it, someone else will write it for you. If you don't protect it, it will get shaped by default, not design. But if you wake up, if you return, if you decide, then it begins. And that decision, it's not tomorrow, it's not later, it's not someday, it's now, this moment, this breath, this life, yours, fully.